sharing culture. Let's talk about what are the benefits of sharing culture. As I said, we automatically and naturally start sharing cultures. We cannot have one person with one culture. Automatically and naturally, it flows down to other people. We share our culture with other members of our group. We've also noticed that even if we have a small group of friends, the majority of the members of that group do things in a similar way. Maybe one or two are the odds ones who are not following the same culture, but usually one tends to share the culture of the group, even if it is a very small group of friends. Therefore, we know how to behave appropriately in our social group. So let's take a scenario where there are 10 friends in a group and they start sharing each other's habits, like for example, having coffee in the morning. So the whole group will go together to have coffee in the morning. Maybe there are one or two odd ones who say no, they don't want to have coffee in the morning, so they won't go. But most of them, the majority of the group members, would go together to have coffee in the morning. So that means they are developing and learning the same culture every day, and they are sharing that particular culture. Now, how does it benefit us? It benefits us when we are sharing the positive habits and attitudes in a group. So what happens? That by looking at the others, by looking at the other members of the group, we just have an idea that this person is doing something good and he is benefiting out of it. Therefore, I should also do it. So in order to develop a society where we exhibit a behavior which is appropriate and positive for the coming generations and ourselves, means that we should be adopting a culture which would benefit the generations to come. And therefore, we would be able to live in harmony and peace. How would that happen? Let us take the example of a group which makes it a point that we are going to have a behavior in which we are going to mind our language. So that means that group is inculcating, or the culture which is developing in that group is to use good language while talking to one another. In that way, what will happen? That will become the norm of that particular community or society. Everybody would know that in our culture, we are not supposed to be talking using any abuses in our language or using any language which insults the other person. So that means if we will belong to this particular community in which we have to mind our language, we have to learn to be careful when we are talking to others. So this will become the culture of that particular group, and the appropriateness of that group will be known by other groups or other communities, that this community is very careful when they speak to others. They do not use abusive language. Similarly, in other behaviors also, if a community or a society develops such habits, then that means everybody is going to share the good habit, and the group is going to go towards appropriate things. And because of following the same group and following the same culture, everybody is going to behave in an appropriate manner. And that is how it is going to benefit everyone. We are able to predict how others will behave in our group. So by sharing culture, we already know, okay, this group is going to behave like that, because we know that is how this group conducts different behaviors. So in that way, we would also know people around us and people belonging to a particular group.